Welcome to Revenue Mind, where revenue leaders get real about mental health. I'm Julie. Stick around for honest stories, practical insights, and why well-being is the real bottom line. Let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome to the Revenue Mind podcast, a podcast where we talk all about mental health with revenue leaders. With us is Devin today. Welcome, Devin.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. I'm so happy this worked out.
Me too. I know it's been a long time coming. You were very patient and very kind with my many reschedules, but I always knew we'd make it.
Yeah, it's all about getting there, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so I don't prep a lot of people for this. What makes you you?
Oof, that is a deep, reflective question and a very good one. I don't know if it's there's no right answer. There's just the answer I give today on a Friday. I would say what makes me me is my love and passion of bringing people together and making sure people are having a good time. Could be for a whole party, could be for like one moment in the day, but that's one thing that I try to do is I try to give like one moment per day to make someone's day better or easier or something like that.
I love that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
I appreciate the immediate validation. That's a deep question to put myself out there. That was my most honest answer of the day.
Oh, you just wait until we get into these questions.
Yeah, this is the warm up.
That's did you play basketball? You look like you have the build.
I did, and I still do a little bit. Yeah, I played high school, junior college, and then now I play old man pickup.
Oh man, pick up. Is that reminds you of, like the Adam Sandler movies?
Yeah, that could be his next movie, honestly, is Old Man Pickup, and it's just him playing basketball with, middle-aged men. But yeah, so that's me. I'm older than the young guys and a little younger than the old guys, so I'm in that middle ground right now. But yeah, I still play a couple times a week.
Yeah, you're like right in the range. He's actually very good, Adam Sandler. He's like a really, really good basketball player, which is
I've
really
seen
funny.
online like random clips of like I think New Yorkers or wherever, whatever city he's in, and they're just like, yeah, so we were shooting around and Adam Sandler in a 5X polo tee showed up and 4X shorts. If anyone doesn't know what I'm referencing, go Google it. He really does just wear like the baggiest clothes that can't be functional for a game of basketball, but that kind of adds to the allure, I suppose.
And then he slays.
And then
Well, I
he
want you
kills, yeah, and he's great.
well, I want you to get to your I know it's a Friday afternoon, so we'll dive into the questions. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. So, you began life as an English major, immersed in narrative craft. How did your anxieties into stories help you tackle imposter syndrome on Gong's sales floor?
Wow, you weren't kidding. We are going deep. Okay. You invited me. I'm going to accept and share some things I've probably never shared on a podcast before. If I had maybe answered the what makes you you differently, the another answer I probably could have given was my ability to turn pain into progress. And early in my life, that did a great service to me because I was able to basically turn things that I don't know, some people might call traumatic or semi-traumatic, or even just really negative experiences that maybe don't necessarily hit the traumatic threshold, and internalize them and turn them into ambition, turn it into motivation and commitment. And it did a really good thing for me because it helped me grow my career. And from kind of day one, and I've had more success in my career than I anticipated. And that's more of those insecurities talking, and not that I'm, flexing by any sense of the word. And so earlier was really good for me. And I would take those moments where I remember feeling down, feeling like I wasn't enough, feeling like I would never cut it, feeling like I was an imposter, a fraud, and radically unqualified for the job I was in. Name the year I could probably apply to that and say, you know what, other people probably have a version of this too. And I'm going to try to focus on that and turn it into a story. And we're going to start right there in the pain. We're going to start right there and grip you in some sort of emotion. And then back to the English major, and I was an education minor. So I was going to go be an English middle school teacher. I love turning someone's day around by helping them in that moment And then later they come back and they're like, oh man, you said this one thing or you shared this one story and, I applied it and it worked. And so I would take those stories and start with the pain. And then I had an opportunity to help salespeople become better sellers through the content that we were creating. And so, yeah, that's how I would say I've kind of applied it.
That's awesome. You're killing me so far.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. For me, I definitely, the whole reason I started this podcast, if I, as I've also had a lot of challenges and traumatic experiences. Won't even get into them, but I think what it did for me is it makes me really empathetic to
Yeah.
people. And for you, I like that you want to make someone's day because maybe, I mean, I'm not trying to be like a therapist,
Yeah.
but you want to make someone's day because you had XYZ pain, so you wanna make someone else feel good because maybe you weren't good.
Hmm.
And I'm actually the same way. The way I do that is I listen to people, and people tend to tell me their entire life story. I don't know what it is, but I will do Bumble BFF, which is like a friend matchmaking thing, and I'll go on a blind friend date, and someone will tell me their entire life story. I don't know what gene it is. Apparently, it's a gene in my family.
Hmm.
But I think just in general, people like to be heard and people like to be helped. And it sounds like you help people help themselves.
Yeah, in a way. I joke sometimes I'm like a self-help coach. I know that comes with like kind of like weird connotation as like a, life coach or whatever. But yeah, to kind of your point, I think I did spend a lot of time growing up feeling alone or feeling abandoned for some reason. And knowing how that feels and then knowing how good it feels to turn that around is a great gift, and I'm sure you have memories and moments too as you nod with me here. And so yeah, and I know like, hey, I work in SaaS marketing. I'm not, I know I'm not changing the world, but I'm trying to change someone's day. And I think that's a good, good addition. It makes me feel good, makes other people around me feel better. And so yeah, that's like the most intrinsic motivation for sure.
That's awesome. I love that. Oh, and your wife is an amazing writer, by the way.
Thank you. I will relay that to her right after this and she will blush and she will love you. You'll be her new best friend.
Sounds good. Yeah, I come across her posts. I'm like, damn, that's clever.
She is.
Yeah, she's very, very
She's
clever. No,
incredible in person. She's picked up LinkedIn lately and really gone all in, and I'm incredibly proud of her and sometimes envious in a healthy way of her success. Kidding, of course, but no, she's crushing it, and yeah, I'll relay that to her.
yep, perfect. Awesome. Great. All right. Next one. You good? You ready?
Yeah, tank is still full.
Great. So next question. The ability to write compelling narratives clearly served you well. By your first year, you closed over 1 million ARR. What mindset ritual kept you grounded when deals move faster than you ever imagined?
This one is a not as deep answer, and not and that's not a reflection of the question. It's more of like because sales is so hard and you get screwed over so much, and I mean screwed over as in like just things that should happen don't happen, things that should not happen do, and it's just a huge roller coaster career. And so when once in a great while you get a bluebird, like an unexpected deal falls in your lap, or a 20K deal turns to a 100K deal and it closes sooner, you just take a big breath of gratitude, and you're like, the sales gods looked at me today with favor. And man, I'm just gonna soak this in for a second, knowing the next curveball is right around the corner, maybe after lunch. So yeah, I would say it's more of these moments of just relief and thank God than it is like staying grounded. My head never got bigger. There's never a amount I've ever hit where I'm like, I've got it all figured out. As soon as you say that or think that, the sales gods spite you or smite you. Yeah, smite. That's the Old Testament word.
That's reminding me of Avengers with Thor.
Yeah.
I don't know why that came to my head, but that
I have no
yeah.
infinity stones and I'm just trying to get by.
That's me to tell the podcast.
Yeah, there it is. You can have it. That
I
writes
have no
itself.
I have no infinity stones. Cool.
Truth.
All right. Great. So from that first million to helping Clary jump from 20 million to 200 million ARR, you sprinted through hypergrowth. Do you have any personal practices during that time that became non-negotiable for your sanity?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So during that time, we started having children. So I became a dad in 2020, and dad of two in 2022. And so that introduced a new dynamic to my life, which isn't just, you have your buckets of life, right? You have your maybe like your family relationships, your personal health, right? Whatever, however you have those buckets and however many you have. I think you can really only have about three like really, real buckets. So like, family relationships is obviously it can be a large bucket for some people. Being a dad became a new bucket right next to this giant, well-established bucket called Devin's ambition and career. And that was the big dog on campus, so to speak. And so when I introduced this new, dynamic to my life, I'm a dad now. Not only was I learning, as rapidly as I could mostly through trial and error of how do I want to be a dad? How am I going to be a dad? There was also the sometimes conflict or tension between those two parts of my life, which is, a provider now for a family and wanting to grow my career. And then, being a present father and, making that the most important priority in my life because that's a limited time offer. Careers, like you can say they come and go, but they change. You can always find something else. Having gone from sales to marketing, I'm like pretty confident. Other than maybe coding, I could probably figure it out. And so, yeah, there was just a time I remember I was working late, and late was only like 5:15. I was like 5 o'clock, and my wife was in the other room with Rumi, our newborn, and she was probably around 8 months old at this time. And I remember looking at the clock; it was like 5:05. I'm like, okay, one more thing and my wife and Rumi and her parents in the other room, and I can hear like laughter and conversation, and I'm like, okay, a couple more, one more thing, and I look, it's 5:08, and my wife texts me, and she's like, come in, I come into the other room. I look at the clock, I'm like, okay, just finish this last thing, and then I hear this like roar of like celebration and laughter in the next room, and my wife texts me, she goes, Rumi just rolled over for the first time. Yeah. And so that was like the first time I failed, I would say, and was the first time where I was like, all right, these boundary things are real and I need to get me some. And that was like the first time I was like, all right, I need to like set hard boundaries of when do I work, when I don't work, and that phrase has become a trigger in my head, which if I say, oh, one more thing, is like don't miss out on a memory for one more task. And so yeah, that was kind of like the first boundary. Luckily I've set a lot more, and it's molded over time as my kids go from babies to now toddler Disney princesses.
Oh, it's so cute. Do they have the skirts? Like the
I'm in the midst of laundry day, so it's Fridays are often laundry days, and that's dad duty. I will tell you, I've already put a countless number of skirts, Disney dresses, Jasmine mermaid stuff. Yeah, and I'm halfway done. So yes, we are all in.
That's awesome. I was a devil in kindergarten.
You were the devil, like
I was
for
like a
like literally,
devil.
like figuratively, or for Halloween?
Oh, no, for Halloween.
Mm,
Also, yeah, probably literally too. I was a monster when I was 5, but I was a devil for Halloween. But that's I mean, in all seriousness, I think coming to that realization is pretty amazing. I realized the same thing. I don't have kids, but I'm in the middle of building something, and you get so sucked in to whatever it is, that the buckets you're talking about. And
yeah.
I got so sucked in that there was one night where I was like, my husband's in the other room, my puppies are there, they're all cuddling, and I'm missing out because I think this can't
Mhm,
get done tomorrow. And I've talked on podcasts about this, but like, what are we going to remember on our deathbeds? Are we going to remember? I mean, yeah, what you're doing is amazing. What I'm hoping to do hopefully takes off. But are we really going to care? Are we going to care about the people that we loved and the relationships that we made and the people that we helped?
mhm, yeah, and unfortunately, it takes usually, like, losing a loved one or seeing, maybe secondhand of, like, you have the realization that we have so much less time than we think we do, and we find ways to fill it up, and we could blame, I blame it usually between the culture and my own ambition, so it's kind of the world we're in and I'm adding to it, and so it is a challenge to wanna build something, right? podcast, business, anything that like you just care about. And also remember like, hey, why am I doing this? I'm like, oh yeah, it's for those snuggles, right? And I think the same thing when I see my wife. Sometimes I'll just see my wife and the girls. They're in like, they look so cozy and they're chilling, they're watching a movie, and I'm like, why am I doing anything but that right now? That is literally heaven for me. Like, what am I doing? But you know what? Like, you just have to remember, like, we're not robots. We're human beings with old wiring, and just we're learning as we go. And it's like you have to sometimes learn the hard way a couple of times. But ultimately, it's like, yeah, I want to look back to your point on like deathbed. Is like I want to look back and remember all the moments I made, not all the moments I missed.
Ooh, another good quote. Loving these. I'm like, quote, quote, quote. I'm a writer
I'll
too,
take it.
actually. Started writing when I was 11, started writing songs
I love
when
that.
when I was a little girl.
That's
Um,
that's great. Songwriting is awesome. Great creative outlet.
yeah. Do you also play music?
You know what? I was not gifted musically. I'm a novice beatboxer. I will not do it right now. That's what my wife was. She always wants me to beatbox for people, and I'm like, I so love that you think I'm really good at this. It's just not actually that good. And when you and when people outside of our duo hear it, they're not impressed. You know what I mean? But I do enjoy doing it, and my kids think I'm good at it, so that's usually why I stay there. But no, I don't play any instruments. I mean, I love music, and I love different types and understanding it and lyrics and all that stuff. But no, never been. Never played. What about you? Do you sing, and or play?
I kind of play guitar, not really, about like 10 chords and 1 strum. But I
That
like to
means
think
nothing. That's 10 strums or an accord more than me, so I'm like, you're yeah,
Oh, well, I never was properly trained, but I can sing a pretty mean Valerie.
lovely.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's
That's
fun.
impressive.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it took some time.
Mhm.
But let's move on. Let's keep going, or else we're
Sure.
gonna be on for 3 hours, you're never gonna do your exercise. Great. So, around the same time, you launched the reader and saw six-figure revenue roll in. At what point did the joy of creating flip toward fatigue? And how did you draw a hard line to protect your well-being?
So I actually started the reader in 2017, and the reason being I was in sales trying to get into marketing, and I had gone at Eventbrite all the way through the final interview for this marketing manager position. And the like head of editorial like was coaching me, and she was super helpful, and like because I knew nothing of marketing other than I'd like written some blogs and I thought I had what it took. And so anyway, I got to the very final interview and I did not get it. They passed me up for an external candidate. And so I had realized like if my current company isn't going to take a bet on a sales guy going into marketing, no other CMO is going to look at me in the pile of applications and be like, yeah, let's take a risk on this guy. So I started the reader as just as a freelancing outlet so I could get experience. So the next time that I had an opportunity or an interview, I could show a body of work, have a couple clients, as references and show that I'm legit. And so I had done it as a side gig for years until about the point you're mentioning. It was still a side gig, but had eventually scaled up from what started at $30 an hour to a six-figure business. And so the reason of kind of your question of the joy of creating, anytime money is involved, things can lose focus. And the thing that makes a creative outlet great, the thing that makes a podcast great, an email series great, is the real passion and love for creating what that thing is. And if you have that passion and you inject it freely and you have, explore your creative freedom, then oftentimes it resonates at a level where people want to monetize it. So you've created so much value from your creativity that now you have more money and you have more temptation and you probably have more pressure. And so, yes, that's what happens around that point. Luckily, because it was a side gig still and I had a full time job, it was kind of like, how big can I make this thing that will never have to be too big? Right? It's like always this little side compartment. But there was definitely times where I was like, maybe I actually don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this type of task, but I said yes because money was involved. or I don't really like working with this people and advising, but they gave me money. And so that's when I started just to realize, hey, keep this thing pure. Love doing the work, love what you're building, and then the money will come versus feeling like you need to go, because you hit 100K one year, you have to do it the next year.
I'm definitely the same way. Throughout this podcast, I've talked to a lot of different revenue leaders, and there's definitely a thread of a lot of founders of following their passion. And it doesn't have to be saving the world, right? We're not curing cancer. We're not doing rocket science. I'm not even going to mention Elon. We'll have that haircut. I'll be haircut me out. God. Um, anyways, we're not saving the world, but we are making a difference. I think if you follow your passion, you are making a difference in someone's life. Now, it's not, reversing aging, but
Hmm.
if you're having fun, I think, and you're also helping people in some sort of way, like you with educating people and taking that education background, the writing background, and really giving stuff away or giving your knowledge away for free. I mean, I know you're obviously monetizing it, but like you're, you know, you're
Yeah,
you're
both.
giving yeah, both. Like you're giving away your knowledge and your knowledge is valuable and you're helping people. So I think there's always a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think so too, and it's like I don't believe the kind of like for a career, follow your passion and all work out. That kind of ignores like how the world works. It's like if passion was in a vacuum, yeah, absolutely. Like I would also be on the Golden State Warriors starting shooting guard. But genes and the world decided that probably wouldn't be my path. But especially today, and I've actually thought of doing this like just for really just for fun. Like, what if I was an ESPN announcer and I only covered the Warriors? Like, there's nothing preventing me from just doing a video every day, quick commentary, make some jokes, have fun, because I love the Warriors and I love basketball and I love staying in the know and, getting a laugh. Like, so you can still do that. And guess what? If you're really good at it and enough people follow, then yeah, maybe that could be your full time job. Like, brands will pay you, you get the idea. So I think there's obviously routes to it. And I'm really grateful that I was able to have the reader as a side gig versus jumping into entrepreneurship maybe a little prematurely, and then you do feel the stress of financial needs and burdens, and you take on clients you maybe don't want to, and then your vision isn't what's realized. You kind of built a business around a budget or around scarcity. So yeah, and I think that's why it's doing well, and I still am so excited on a Friday afternoon. Like I'm having a great time with you. This was like a good break in my day, so to speak, and then I'm like, yeah, and I have like 2 hours before pool time with my kids to like crush some more business stuff, like, whatever those little projects are. Like, I just nerd out and like that stuff.
I'm a total nerd. It's so bad. I started a SoundCloud. I haven't posted yet, but what I wanna start recording. So we'll see how that goes.
You should.
I know. My dentist was like, "That's how the best things happen." I'm like, "Thank you, dentist."
Yeah. You
I
never
mean,
know. You never know until you go.
exactly. Like that girl, I think, that Anxiety where she sang over the Gautier song, that
Yes.
became, like, number 1 in the country. I was like, "That's so cool. Go you." It's so
Think of that.
good.
Think of how I agree. And I'm adding, imagine taking that beat, like, because that song is super famous and a like timeless classic now. Like it is an amazing original. Imagine being like, yeah, I'm gonna take that song and I'll just make it better, or even just to be like, I'll make it my own and good enough that I don't get ridiculed widely. Because when I heard I didn't actually know the artist. I had heard of her, but I hadn't heard her. And someone put it on, and I heard they're like, "You have to listen to the song." And I heard the music first. I was immediately like defensive. I was like, who is this that she thinks she can jump on this track?" And then I suspended my disbelief and listened, and was glad I did, because she absolutely 10 out of 10. If you're going to remake that song, like I don't know. Now I'm like, who could beat her in remaking, you know what I mean? A third version. So anyway, I ramble because it's great.
Oh, all
And I love
good.
the
No,
original.
all good. Alright, so shifting gears a little bit. Your mantra is show, don't tell, help and entertain, not just sell. How do you extend that same compassion inward when you hit a creative block rather than pushing yourself harder?
Well, let me start by saying that self-compassion has never been a strong quality of mine. I have, until probably 6 to 12 months ago, began the journey of learning genuinely how to love myself. And that might sound silly to some people, or that might sound exactly like what you're going through, dear listener. But growing up, I was always my worst critic. And I kind of talked about that a little bit before, feeling when you feel like you're not enough, you tell yourself you're not enough. And then you look for external validation that you were right. So when I think about self compassion, I have to remind myself that people want you to succeed. People have much less expectations for you than you do for yourself. And people don't love you for what you are or what you achieved. They love you for who you are and just want you to be there. And that's what I have to work on. Like, it's not, I have to work on not trying so hard and like just remembering my girls, my wife, that's my pod right now. And all they really want is my time. They don't care what we're doing if we do nothing, like that's all it is. And so to accept that that is enough is what I'm working on right now. And just finding, relief and freedom. And there is so much less expectation on myself than I've led myself to believe until this point. And that's when I feel light and I feel free and I feel loved. And those are that's the state of being that I'm constantly trying to stay in and catch myself when I leave, and those, that internal talk kind of returns, because that old wiring is very strong and it has a grip and it doesn't want to go away easily. And so that is when, if I ever say, I'm kind of going through a lot right now, that's what I'm going through. There's nothing really even externally, usually, at least as of late. It's like that internal battle of finding and believing in that self-worth. When sometimes you'll wake up and you're your biggest fan, and sometimes you wake up and you're your worst critic. And it's like, can you be aware of that today? Can you course correct and have a great day? Because, you got people counting on you. And even more importantly, you deserve to wake up feeling like you are enough.
That was beautiful. That gave me goosebumps. I'm not even, like, kidding. I'm not so s
Well,
mm,
I'm glad it resonated, because, like I said, I don't share this stuff very often, outside of my, wife and journal. So you led the way for me to share. So I appreciate that.
yeah, of course. Thank you so much for opening up. I I was gave me goosebumps because I definitely am very much the same way. I have been so hard on myself. I mean, I think I had to-do lists since 11, would wake up at 4 and study. I was like a
Mhm.
pretty big nerd. But it was it
Nerds are the best, by the way, though. By the way, being a nerd is so cool as an adult,
it is, yeah.
because it's like, oh, you have a passion and you are super into it and you're knowledgeable about it. I think that's the coolest thing as an adult, because it kind of gets beaten out of you, or we think we have to conform, and it's like, oh no, don't let me study at 4 because no one else studies at 4. But really, there's other people studying at 4 that if you can just find them, you have best friends for life.
There you
Not to
go.
interrupt.
I love
Wanted to
that.
validate you.
Thank you. I really like that. Yeah, that's awesome. So last question. If you could slip a note to yourself one day at Gong, terrified English major facing enterprise quotas, what pep talk would you give about mental resilience?
The note would say, trust yourself. It's all going to work out. Parentheses, even better than you expected.
Ain't that the truth?
It usually
Well,
is. We have such bleak outlook for how good life is. If you're listening to this podcast, you have probably an amazing life.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you're on LinkedIn, but anything you wanna share where people can connect with you if they have questions about this or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple ways. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I have a newsletter called The Reader. It's just a weekly newsletter. It is about marketing, but I do talk about personal stuff like this sometimes. And then I have a show called Read Between the Lines on YouTube and Spotify and Apple. Read REED, because I told you I'm a dad, and dad puns, and it was just right there for the taking. So I took that.
Well, thank you so much, Devin, for being on the show. Really, really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. I had a great time.
That's a wrap for Revenue Mind, where we cut the BS and spotlight mental health and revenue leadership. I'm Jolie, reminding you your mindset is your competitive edge. Thanks for listening. See you next time.